All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Natural View. Maggie and Todd here, live at SupplySide Global. We're thrilled to have a special guest here today. We are at the Greenspace Herbs booth with Mr. Shafiullah Nuruddin, Shafi, and he is known as the Quantum Ayruveda Man, and he's going to get us up to speed on what Quantum Ayruveda is. So thank you for having us here.
Thank you so much, Maggie.
So I want to start with some big news. So just yesterday or the day before, I believe, here in the end of October, there was big news from India on the Quantum Ayurveda front. Can you fill us in on the Indian Chamber of Business Commerce and what happened?
Yeah, it's a white paper released by the Indian Chambers of Commerce and ICMRI, the Indian Chambers of Medical Research. The organization has released the paper talking about Quantum Ayurveda. So the entire Indian government is working on that because Ayurveda comes from India, right? And there are about 7,000 herb species in the Indian continent. And government is really eager to, how do we get those quantum kind of a knowledge into these plants plants kingdom.
So this is big news in terms of advancing Quantum Ayurveda, right?
Absolutely, it's big. And we are the world's first company who is going to bring this Quantum Ayurveda ingredient. Government is speaking about that, and we are already on the launch.
Yeah.
This is the great news, what is happening around.
Well, that's exciting. And I'm wondering if we could take a quick step back for folks listening in the U.S. and other places who might not necessarily know what Quantum Ayurveda is. Could you give us the basic definition of what that term means?
Yeah, everybody knows about Ayurveda. This Ayurveda is about ancient science, the wisdom. We have amalgamated with the new technology called as quantum physics, where every plant material has got the frequencies tuned inside them. And that is what we are going to measure with that. And the Ayurveda amalgamations with the quantum physics is what the new technology which is emerging now.
All right. And so there's exciting things happening here at the show as well. A little later today, you're going to be launching 5 new products. So for the people watching who aren't here and aren't going to see that debut, can you tell us about each of the products and what the benefits are and, what you're going to be offering?
This was not an easy project for us. This was a hard work of my scientists and the whole team who have done this work together, which has come into this daylight. We are going to launch 5 ingredients into the market now because in the afternoon we have a launch party. The 5 ingredients are about curcuminoids called as Quantum Ayurveda, curcuminoid QA, and then we have berberine QA, we have ashwagandha QA. All these ingredients are unique in the single ingredients, which most of the companies in the US and in the global market, they are using it as the branded ingredients. Right? Now, what is the difference that it's going to make with the quantum science? It's a total disruption of the market. The people, they talk in milligrams and we talk in megahertz. And the other 2 products, what we are going to launch is, it's a NerviQ. It's a pain management. If most of your pains are taken away, then you have a clear mind. The decisions making will be very perfect. And the other one we have for the women wellness. And that is a pre-menopause and the post-menopause, the women health, because that is the biggest category in the nutraceutical level.
That's the buzz of the show, women's health.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so you talk about your products being frequency tuned, and I'm wondering if you could explain that concept a little bit and how that might differ from being better bioavailable for plants.
Absolutely. See, this is something not new we are inventing. This was invented long years down the line. The sages were doing all these cosmic energies, getting transferred into the healing aspects of the human life. We didn't have any medical or any pharmaceutical companies who were doing the products at that time. How the diseases and the wellness were taken care of the humanity. That's because of these. The amalgamation of the ingredients and the cosmic energies. That is how the product has come into the light. But in our technology, in the modern science technology, what we are doing now is the process is similar. The standardization of the process are very similar. The only thing is, after the extraction, the active ingredients, whatever we derive, that will go into a chamber to get the energy infusion. It's a particular frequencies. Each plant has got its signature frequencies. The same signature frequencies we are going to induce into those extracts. That is how, when the both energies are getting closer together, then the resonance is formed. That is the better effect when you consume it.
So you're talking about how, the traditional has blended with this modern breakthrough. Can you talk to us about some of the evidence? I mean, you have evidence to back this up and the efficacy of the products. Can you talk us through some of that?
Yeah, but what exactly we are doing is we want to make sure how does the audience believe that there is an energy inside the ingredient. So for that, to make them believe, we use a Raman spectrophotometer and we do the study on that, and on the photographies, on the chromatograph reports, we can see that the energy is being shifted.
Okay.
And once the energy is shifted, we are going to entrap it for some, say, we have done a quick study on that. For up to 3 years, the energies are going to be intact in the formulations or in the ingredient. And that is when it dissipated into the body, the effects are enormous.
Let's talk about the energies in each product or in each formulation, and how do you ensure that they don't cancel each other out? What's that process as you formulate? Is that something I've never
This an interesting question.
Fascinating.
See, we are using the AI technology where we are going to map the individual herb frequencies, how they are getting synchronized well together. And the products which we are doing in the market, the Pauli herbs product, out of which there are 2-3 ingredients, different ingredients. One hero ingredient will be energized, and the other ingredients, active molecules, are supporting as a catalyst to that. That is how the synergy is happening. It is with the scientific evidence, the artificial intelligence data, the curated data, we select the best formula, which helps us to get into this technology.
And can you just kind of drive home the point of what it means that it's loaded with energy, just to help us kind of really understand that?
Yeah, this is a real secret question what you have asked. This is a highly confidential one. But anyway, there is a chamber called as acoustic chamber. Say when a person enters into that acoustic chamber, it is a minus 20 decibels, so you can hear your heartbeat when you step into that. Right? When we place those ingredients, suppose for example the curcuminoids, when we place that, and the signature frequency of curcuminoids, say that it's a 5 megahertz, and the frequency what we release from the acoustic chamber is also 5 megahertz. The 5 megahertz of the ingredient and the 5 megahertz of the frequency what we bombard to that, it creates a resonance.
As someone takes the herbs and the formulations, what might they feel from a user perspective?
Yeah. They feel very energetic. The first, because it's energy filled, and we have already worked on a lesser dosage of the ingredients what the others are offering. Say for example, the curcumin, the other companies are offering, say it's a 1 milligram or 750 milligram, 1 gram or 750 milligram. But in our case, the dosage is 50% lesser than the dosage what they're offering.
Okay.
And the 50% dosage will give you the same energy, same efficacy of the products what the branded ingredients are giving. That's the difference. And they get to know when they use it for over a period of time, say for 1 week or 10 days or 15 days, they will get to know what Quantum Ayruveda is.
Interesting.
That's good stuff. Yeah. So you're starting to present it. I mean, the show just opened. We're new here on the show floor, but you've been talking to people over the past couple of days. What kind of feedback are you getting as you're kind of spreading the word about what you guys are offering?
Yeah, the quantum word itself is a buzzing word, and people are very excited. We saw in the morning when we came to the booth, a lot of people were just standing and asking, what is this quantum? Yep. Because this is the new word, as I called the technology itself, as it's very new, a new concept, what we are bringing to the market. Definitely, it's going to work very well.
Yeah, a lot of buzz, very fresh, and we love to see the innovation. So that's what this show is all about, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You've put a lot of time, obviously, into this, and it's exciting because today's the launch of the 5 ingredients later. I'm just wondering, as you look a year out, what do you envision success looks like?
Next 5 years, every branded company should have this technology, the quantum technology, into their products. That is what is the vision. And it's not only about the product, it's about giving good health. We are working on preventive healthcare. We want to really focus on giving good health, happy life for the people around. That is what is our concept.
Absolutely. That's a good one.
Yeah.
So I just want to get a little bit more into, you touched on that there is the hero ingredient and then you have like the supporters. Can you talk a little bit more about that, about the hero ingredients?
Yeah. Suppose we want to make sure that all the ingredients in the polyherb formulations work well together. There should not be any repulsion against them. Then the result becomes nullified. Right? For that is the reason the one hero ingredient we select based on the artificial intelligence data, the formulations what we do, and our clinical and our research team, they work behind that and they check with the available data, the clinical study data is available on the Google, on the other paid portals. They check and they make the thing happening, right? That hero ingredient acts as the major role player. And the other team, like the captain. In any game, you see the captain. Captain is the one that does the hero role here. And the other subordinates, they all put together, we have to win the battle.
Right.
Yeah, that makes sense.
All right, let's shift gears slightly here and let's get a little technical. Can you talk about some of the equipment that you use? And I understand you might have drawn from other industries and used some of the technologies outside of our industry to move this one forward. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, the energy frequencies or whatever we are talking about, people they don't believe unless until you have them scientific evidences to show them the proof what exactly you are doing, how you are doing. So we are using Raman spectrophotometer, to check the energy frequencies, and it is a measurable frequencies what we're talking about. And then we have a couple of other instruments, the electronic magnetic induction machines where the frequencies are released into that. These instruments are readily available in the market. That means they use it for aircraft and the other areas where for the high-end scanning machines and all, they use this technology. The same technology we are using it for our ingredient.
Interesting.
Very cool. And you touched on some of the clinical data, some of the readouts. Can you go a little deeper into that?
Yeah, we half the way we have already done. We have a preclinical study data is available, and the products are super. They're giving us a very good result. Another 2 months time, the data are out, and we have done the studies on human studies with 60 to 100 subjects. There is a protocol. The study how it has to happen. So we have adopted all the clinical studies, how it has to go from the day one. The studies are up to 90 days, 180 days. There's a sequence of studies happening on toxicity, on the efficacy of the product, and how good and how better is your product when compared to other ingredients in the market.
Okay, so we're going to stay tuned for more of that data as it comes out. We'll share with our audience as you have more available on that too.
That's right. I know you mentioned a little bit earlier about, in 5 years, you'd like to see branded ingredients using this technology, right? I'm wondering if you could expand on that a little bit and talk about Quantum Ayruveda in terms of its significance in the industry in upcoming years, and what kind of a change do you see in the industry because of this new Quantum Ayruveda that you're bringing to the market?
Yeah, it's a very interesting question. Quantum Ayruveda is a concept. It has got nothing to do with the chemical structure of an ingredient. The concept is like, in the olden days, how do we communicate each other? By talking, by sending emails or something like that on the postal, right? But then the invent happened, the wireless talk. I'm sitting in the Las Vegas and I can talk to my home. But how does the voice sound is getting converted? It's all about waves.
Interesting.
So what's in the future in terms of, the resonance mapping you talked about, can that help you make new discoveries in terms of, new plants, new findings on
This is not the end. This is the beginning of the era, because we have already started doing some studies. Now, Indian government wants to do study on quantum signature frequencies of 7,000 herbs which are present in Indian Ayurveda. And this concept can be used throughout the world. Any plant, anywhere which is grown, it will have a frequency, signature frequency of its own. And through the artificial intelligence data, we can find out where it is health beneficial. And this ingredient and the organs frequencies can be mapped. So every plant in the world, in the universe, has got some medicinal value and has got its frequencies as well.
Wow. So there's going to be some exciting things to come.
Yeah. It's fascinating to think that if you start to tap into every plant in the world.
The government of India is doing this now because they want to have the entire Indian community is well versed for the Ayurveda, right? And government is really focusing on Quantum Ayruveda to make this happen into every small village in the country.
So speaking of new products, we might not be at every plant in the world in 2 years, but let's talk about 2026 and 2027. Today, the front of the booth, you're, as we talked about, introducing 5 new products. Can you give us a little bit of insight into what might be coming down the road next year, the year after, as maybe new products beyond the first 5 are coming out?
Yeah, the initial target for us is to do a consumer education because the concept is new. Acceptance levels will not be so good. The repulsions are always be there because any new concept coming into the market is not easily acceptable, right? For them, we'll have to educate what is Quantum Ayruveda.
Right.
And we have our 2 influencers, Dr. Swathi, who is talking about all these things, and Danielle as well. So they talk about this quantum, the energy, the frequencies, how it is going to be beneficial for the health. That is what is.
All right,
Excellent.
Shafi. Well, thank you for getting us up to date on that side. And as you mentioned, you have more experts here at the booth, and they're going to come join us now and give us some more insights about taking it through to the consumers. All right, we are here still at the Greenspace Herbs booth, and we're learning more about Quantum Ayurveda. And our next guest is Dr. Swathi, and she is an integrative pharmacist. Is that correct? Yes, and a researcher, and she's on faculty, and she's going to talk to us kind of more about the science. Yeah. So I want to ask you, if you were to design a study, a clinical study, looking at this Quantum Ayurveda and the herbs, what would be your parameters for that?
So normally in a great clinical study, there's objective data, but there's also subjective data. And so for the objective side, we're talking about lab markers. So things like biomarkers from lab values like blood or urine or stool, that sort of side. But we also want to think about the subjective side. So like, how did these supplements actually make people feel? And you can do that in a number of ways. You can do that through validated questionnaires or validated tools. So those are actually set and kind of standardized and used in a lot of different studies, which is amazing because then you can compare and contrast how this supplement worked versus like another supplement or even like a drug that used that validated tool. But then in addition to that, I would add other questions that are not specific to the validated tools, not specific to lab values, but just overarching questions that really relate to quality of life. Because at the end of the day, supplements, we're trying to improve people's lives. We're not trying to like go and, treat something or cure something necessarily. So I think the best studies really have a combination of all of those things.
Excellent.
Interesting. So Dr. Swathi, tell me, how do you reach practitioners and talk about Quantum Ayurveda in a way that they understand and adopt in their own practices?
So healthcare practitioners are really familiar with drugs. And so how can you best articulate how this supplement or Quantum Ayurveda works in the context of like how a healthcare practitioner would know how a drug works? So when you're talking to healthcare professionals, they want to see the science. They want to see the data. So to me, that's the most important. Like, what data can you present? And also, are you able to talk to them from like a healthcare provider to healthcare provider? Like that peer-to-peer engagement, I feel like works really well. But then also, there's other people that they work with. So whether that's on their interdisciplinary team or people that actually work in their office, you also need to be able to talk to them to educate them in like a not so like, let's say, healthcare provider level, but like at a different level too. So they're like that different levels of education is super important and making it really easy to understand. So that could be, having simple slides paired with, simple pamphlets or being willing and able to have that conversation, whether it's like over Zoom or in person, because that is what healthcare providers are used to from pharma companies. So it's like, how do you mirror that exact model that works so well there, but then just put it in the lens of like a supplement or Quantum Ayurveda, like something that's actually going to help their patients? And I always view supplements as like the and rather than the or. So it's like, yeah, of course, your patient is probably taking a bunch of medications, but how does Quantum Ayurveda or the supplements actually fit in the context of each patient rather than like trying to swap out a medication?
Yeah. And as Shafi was saying, and you just alluded, there is a lot of education that needs to go on. This will be a new concept for consumers, but kind of stepping back from that, when recommending to consumers best practices for choosing a supplement or red flags that maybe it's like, stay away from this one. Can you give any pointers or best practices there?
Definitely. I mean, some of it is honestly like what you would exactly expect. Like, if it sounds too good to be true, probably is too good to be true. Oh my gosh, I saw this supplement recently that was saying you can lose 12 inches on your waist in 12 months.
Oh, no.
I was like, what if your waist starts out like at 32? Like,
Were you checking out at a gas station and saw this supplement? Or
No, it was online.
Oh, no.
There's crazy things out there. So that's one of the things, like, if it sounds too good to be true, probably is too good to be true. And then paired with that is like, look for the data. Companies that go off and actually do clinical trials and look at the evidence, they're going to post it all over their website. They're going to post it all over their social media, because not only are they proud of it, they hopefully have something to like report back that like, oh, this actually works, or this is safe for the people that are using it. So the data thing is just so important. I guess that pertains to healthcare providers and the consumer side. And then any sort of like certifications like the USP or things like that, like those are not the be all end all. Those are like an awesome like sprinkle on the top of a cake thing. Like cake still tastes awesome, but like sometimes the sprinkles add that little bit. So it doesn't necessarily like a lot of like when I speak to a lot of healthcare professionals and they're always looking for some of those certifications. Like you don't need those, but they certainly can be helpful as well.
Yeah. Good points.
Yeah, great points. All right, so thank you. We're learning so much more about Quantum Ayurveda. That's great tips for supplements in general. So appreciate that. And thank you for joining us. All right, our next guest here at Greenspace Herbs is Danielle Pashko, and she's a functional nutritionist and an author and the founder of Soulhakker. And she's going to talk to us about kind of taking this Quantum Ayurveda and the herbs and putting it into practice in terms of actually having a program for consumers that they can sustain. So let's start with your recommendations for that, for a program for people where they're looking for stress, better resilience, just more well-being in their lives.
Well, working as a nutritionist, many people focus just on the nutrition aspect or using botanicals or herbs, but I like to work with the energetic component. I think that's very important. And when I'm working with someone, I may recommend practices like grounding so they connect to the energy of the earth, or doing yoga, which helps to move the prana, or Tai Chi and Qigong, which helps to move the Qi, which is another form of energy. And Quantum Ayurveda really understands this concept. It's not just using an isolated ingredient like ashwagandha, but the ingredients are tuned. And energetically, the way they work in the body, they're really helping in terms of healing in the same way that all these other practices do. So I think the fusion together is really the way of the future. Yeah.
That's excellent. So when you work with clients, can you talk a little bit about how you guide them to evaluate products in the marketplace? What are some things to look for? Maybe what are some red flags to avoid?
Well, I think it's very important to find out where products are sourced from. Also, things like good manufacturing practices, make sure they have good R&D and they're credible. And in the same turn, when you're looking for products that are Quantum Ayurveda, you want to make sure that the way that their practices are being implemented are using things like spectroscopy, or they have using AI, using ways that have been validated that actually show that the products are what they say they are. A lot of people make these baseless claims, and there's so much competition in the market. So you want to work with someone who's really a leader in the industry, and you know that it's backed by science.
Absolutely. Excellent. So when we were talking with Shafi earlier, we talked about how the experiential effect that people feel when you're working with your clients, or, as a practitioner, what are the things you're looking for to know that it's working, that they're getting the benefits?
things right away might be more energy because it is energy. So feeling better, feeling clearer, mood, anxiety, that's a big issue. I work with a lot of people who I think most of the world has some kind of nervous system dysregulation where they live in the sympathetic fight or flight, and to feel like they're more regulated. Also, heart rate variability, that's a good measurement of the parasympathetic tone and how we're really getting to a better level of health. All of these things together, you will start to notice a difference. You don't have to have a fancy tool to be able to figure it out. Just go by how you feel. Yeah.
So when we talk about tuning botanicals to certain frequencies, that sounds, at least to me, futuristic.
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering, how you talk about that with clients and how you relate that to past practices. Is it new? And if not, how does it relate to some of the ancient practices that have gone on forever?
It's not new. It's something that traditions like Ayurveda, traditional Chinese medicine, they have been using herbs and botanicals for centuries for the properties, for the frequencies, for the energy. And now we're able to combine the way that they were used in the past, but also using this modern technology to actually be able to tune these herbs. So not only are we working with herbs in particular, but now the energetics of the herbs can be applied to the body so they can actually impact the person's overall health, their vibration, and vibration is health. So to be able to have that is very exciting.
It's so much innovation. It is very exciting. And, we're looking forward to learning more over the years and see where this all goes. So thank you for giving us the perspective in terms of working with the consumers. And we're excited to hear what's next.
Thank you for the opportunity.